Yo, yo.
Yo, how's it going, man?
Hey, you sound good.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, yeah. You sound crispy.
I got a I got a mic set up here, and I got another mic on my amp over here, so I'm running through a mixer into the thing. So hopefully you can hear everything.
Yeah, it's like you're just going through Zoom and like, I don't know, it's just like user interface and you're just kind of hooking everything up.
Yep, exactly. That's the one.
Right on. Yeah, I haven't gone as far as miking everything up, but I've got the audio running through like a little speaker below me because I don't know,
Hmm.
it kind of sounds like crap running through the computer, but
Yeah,
you
exactly.
sound good. You sound good. That's awesome, dude.
Cool. I just had to do a Skype lesson, so it was easy enough to kind of set it up. Although we use
Cool.
Zoom for the first time, and so that's why I said I'm not really too good with Zoom yet. So um, figuring out how this all works.
Yeah. Speaking of, I'm gonna hit record, but that's what I like most about Zoom versus Skype. I'm not sure if you can do it on Skype, but on Zoom you can just hit the record and like you can save the lesson or our conversation or something, and then you don't have to post it. But like if you're taking a lesson, it's incredibly useful just to be able to see not only the audio but the video. You're like you
Mm.
can just rewatch your lesson over and over again. I mean, at least I'm 26 now, but like I don't know how old you are, but I feel like in general, both of us have probably taken lessons where we couldn't record them at the time. You know what I mean? It was just like the only moment that
Exactly.
could happen was just like is either you wrote it down on paper or the teacher was good enough to like scribe it down
Hmm.
or I don't know what the third option would be, but you could just go home and shed as much as you could as or to like take a bunch of lessons from them or something. But
Yeah,
now you can
I'm
just like save it and watch it. That's incredible.
It's amazing. Yeah, yeah. I'm 41, and I some of the early lessons I did were all done on cassette tape.
Hell yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah.
you know, I still have those cassette tapes somewhere, but I don't have anything to play them on. I mean, it's really bizarre.
True.
So yeah, I recorded them that way, but no video. I mean, you couldn't see anybody's. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah, I mean, man, I have this argument with little kids. Maybe you feel this way, maybe you don't. That you could teach people without really ever teaching them to read music, as long as they could see your fingers. Because you could say like, okay, first finger E string or first string.
Mm,
You don't have to give them numbers. And like as long as you could see like say like G13 or something, but you could see that like okay, well he's barring all of three, and then his fourth finger is on the fourth string, and then the little fingers on the
100%.
fifth string, and then it's like that's like really the kind of the basis of it, which is I'm sure the academics will kill me for saying that, but
It's the way it used to be back in the day. You used to have to, you used to just have to transcribe it by ear, and you didn't even know if you got the right
yeah,
fingering or the right place. It just half
true.
the time I remember transcribing stuff and just having like wrong chords. Like
Hell yeah.
I heard it a certain way and it wasn't right, and I mean that's all part of it too.
That's kind of been a big topic on this little podcast thing. Is what were some records that you transcribed that were like just totally life changing, mind altering, or something that like you
Oh,
just spent like endless hours doing? Like for me it was Headhunters. Like I could probably just
mm,
regurgitate every solo on Headhunters, like and it sound like a guitar phone or guitar bass or something, whatever it is. Like just I can blend pretty well. But yeah,
yeah. I mean that headhunter stuff is awesome. Heaps of stuff, and it's been through different phases. Like
for
as a
sure.
teenager, I went through a big kind of Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, sort of those sort
Oh
of
hell yeah.
players phase of doing that stuff, and I
Surfing
literally
with the
learned.
Alien is probably one of the first records I ever remember hearing, like in my
Yeah,
entire life.
and I learned every note off that record. Like
Yeah,
literally every single
sick,
note off that record.
sick.
And same
Great
thing with
lyrics
Passion and Warfare, Steve Vai,
too.
and same thing with
Mm-hmm.
Flexible, Steve Vai. But I mean, that was a time. That was sort of what you did. I mean, there's been some Sko albums I've done that with, some Pat Metheny
Yeah,
ones.
we're
Where literally learned every note.
you're right on.
Um, and
That's
it goes
that's
through
some
phases. Like
some
I
good
listen
shit.
to different stuff all the time, but I think that's such an important thing, and I think that's something that a lot of young cats miss now.
I agree.
I say young, and I can still consider myself fairly young at 41, but
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
like
talk about
people in their teens
Schofield.
and early 20s, um, that they don't listen to stuff enough. They go on YouTube and they listen to it once or twice, and then they're on to the next thing. And I didn't
Mhm.
have that luxury, and so I think that's better for people. So
Sure. Yeah.
listen to
Yeah,
things over and over again, thrash it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. I mean, I was super gracious enough to sit in for this group masterclass with Charlie Hunter today,
Hmm.
and I think he probably said, I don't know, 10 times, just like, dude, you should just sit there and play the same groove for an hour and just
Yeah, that's it.
get lost in some James Brown 2 bar groove, and I
And I
was
did a lot of that, but with
I
just
was
like
amazed.
licks as well, not just grooves. Like
True.
I remember for a long time kind of doing stuff like I mean, take a lick like this sort of B flat 7 thing. I mean,
Mm.
how many different ways?
Damn. Sure.
Yeah, how many different ways can you play that same one phrase? And I did a lot of that, just like
A
really working
million.
on, like a million different ways of trying to manipulate those notes to make them say something different. And I think that's just as valuable as sitting on a groove for a long time too. But yeah, I
True.
mean, anything repetitive like that, you get inside it, and that's the key thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Charlie
Dude,
Hunter's such a monster too, man. That dude's groove is
he's
ridiculous.
funny, dude. I don't
Mm.
know. It's I've always just watched him on Instagram or Facebook or something. Like, I'm not of a generation that I like lived in New York or, you know, have been fortunate enough to see him or something. I don't know.
Mm.
I sat outside of one of his shows at Dazzle in Denver one time, and I didn't have $45, but I curiously watched him through the window. and
Man, that's some of the best shit,
Yeah,
that way.
dude, it
Oh,
was
sorry about the language.
no, no. That's one thing about him too, is, dude, he curses like a sailor, and it's so funny.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. Me too, though. Like, I'm by no means some straight edge kid or something, but it's pretty funny. Just there's no bullshit, I guess, with
yeah.
him. He just
He's
calls it like
real.
it is, and I appreciate that, honestly, because right now it's like, yeah, there's no bullshit right now. It's just kind of
Mm.
like, I mean, homie, I think this is the second time I've been a part of a 3 hour, 4 hour group lesson of his. It's like, who in the universe is that nice to just be like, yo, let's have 100 people on Zoom and let's hang out. Like,
Is that what he did? Seriously, like a
yeah,
hundred
yeah,
people?
yeah. If you follow
Oh
him on
wow,
Facebook, like his artist page or whatever, I guess once a week seems to be the thing. He's just picking a day that he has some time, and uh, next
what a
time
cool
if
cat.
I get the
That's awesome.
invite, I'll definitely tag you in it. It was like,
Yeah, do.
it's kind of silly. It's just like, all right, Charlie's just talking how to play his bullshit, and it's cool. He's a cool guy. I appreciate it. In general, that's
Yeah.
like kind of my thing that I'm learning about this whole COVID thing, is everyone's so nice. I mean, people like you. I get to hang with Will Brom. He was like part of
Oh
the
yeah.
Herbie Hancock thing.
I know
The
Will a little bit through a bunch of friends in LA. He's an LA guy. Yeah, he's a really good player for sure.
Super good.
Yeah, and not hell of a nice guy too. So
I mean, I've known Mark forever, but he was like in that Charlie Hunter thing. We got to hang for a little bit. It's just kind of silly. It's like everyone's just
Mark.
Mark Lettieri
Oh, Mark. Yeah, yeah, right. Sorry, I know a few
from
Marks,
Shark
so I
Week.
wasn't sure which one you're
Yeah,
referring to. Mark
totally.
Lettieri. Yeah. Well, was he a part of it as well?
Yeah, he was just in there, and so was Bob Lanzetti. It was so silly. It was just
Oh,
like everybody that I have known who plays guitar was just like in one internet room or
well, this
something.
shows how awesome Charlie is, right? If all those guys are going to give up their time to go and check out what he's got to say about it for a couple of hours, you know what I mean?
True, true. Yeah, it's I was just blessed to be a part of it, I guess. That's all I'm trying to say. But
And those, I mean,
in
those
general,
Tom Bukovac things too. Have you seen those on YouTube and things? I mean, I really like that all that sort of stuff is coming out of the woodwork with this situation.
I agree. I agree, man. It's incredible. I feel like every day I get to wake up and watch somebody I really admire. Somebody I've been getting really into via YouTube because I have time now. Wayne Krantz. You know that guy?
Oh yeah, I took some lessons with Wayne a while ago. He's
No
a
way. Tell
he's
me
a
about
he's a
that.
monster.
Tell me about that.
Um, yeah, he's a pretty hard man.
Really? What do you mean?
Yeah,
How you mean that? Like, how so?
he he has some ways of doing things. I mean, he wasn't like this towards me, but a friend of mine took a lesson with him, and he got there to his house because I did mine via Skype, like we're doing now, and
Okay.
he did them. He was in New York, so he went and had a lesson with him, and apparently, this is
Cool.
just what I was told. I wasn't there, but he
Yeah.
said to Wayne, "Oh, I need to use your toilet, man. Can I borrow your toilet?" And he was like, "Nah, you can't."
Damn. Yeah.
Just brutal, brutal, you know. But
He's kind of out there, but
totally. But
I
man, he
kind
can
of admire
play.
that about him. Like,
Mm. And I
yeah,
went to see him play a couple of times when I was in New York at the 55 bar, and he's killer,
sure.
man.
Yeah,
Dude
every
can
Thursday,
really
right?
play.
Like
And he was really nice. He was really he's always been nice to me, but yeah, I
okay.
can heard he can be pretty hard on people, but you know,
That's the way of the
maybe they
North,
deserve it.
though. I hear. At least, like Northern America.
Well, New
I
York too. New York's a pretty hard hitting city.
Yeah, everybody's got like a chip on their shoulder. I'm from Texas, so I don't. Southern hospitality is definitely a thing. I realize that
Yeah.
now. Even
It's
living
not
in
just a chip too. It's just like they're just trying to survive. It's such a hard city.
yeah.
It's like London's like that. I was just in London not too
Oh,
long
really?
ago, and like, oh, London, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
traveled
it's
like
crazy.
everywhere, like very recently, right?
Yeah, we took a year off essentially and just went and traveled around Europe, but we kind of based ourselves in London and then kind of went out everywhere. I
Sick.
mean, in London, there's 9 million people in the center of the city, and then
Holy shit, that's a lot.
yeah, and then 20 million people commute in every day, apparently. So you can imagine what those sort of numbers are like when you get just like mad groups of people. And but man, it's happening.
Wow,
There's so many jazz clubs there, and
really?
I mean, Ronnie Scott's is doing three
That was the
gigs.
first one I thought of too.
Yeah, they do 3 gigs a night in the main room, and then 3 gigs a night upstairs every night.
So like 6 gigs.
6 gigs a day, yeah. So upstairs is slightly different from downstairs, but that's every day of the week. And then there's
Damn.
606 and Kansas Smitties. There's about 20 of them that are doing that all the time. It's just fantastic. And some killer
Really?
players, guys you probably never heard of, but you know,
For
really happening.
sure.
Rob Luft, have you heard Rob?
No.
He's
No.
a guy knew before I went over there, but I got to know a little better while we're over there. Man, he's killer, and
Really?
he's probably not even 21 yet, and he's kicking ass.
That's what's scary. Me and my
Yeah.
girlfriend are talking about that. Like Jacob Collier, there's this cello kid. Like everyone's like 25 or younger now, and they're just like serious. I am not in that category.
Yeah. Well,
But,
Rob went to music school with Jacob Collier. They went to the same thing, and they kind of grew up
okay,
playing together. And he has
sure.
some stories to tell about Jacob and stuff. But yeah, I mean, but there's a heap of them around. I mean, so many good players. There's just a huge population, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And it's
I don't mean to like talk shit on the place where I live, but that's the one thing I notice, the biggest difference is there's not a lot of really good players here. Which only makes the good ones that much more special. But
That's the
um,
same here in Wellington where I am. I mean,
yeah.
there's a handful of guys who can really play,
Mhm.
and then there's a whole lot of people who are struggling, and you know, it is what it is. Um, but I mean, there's more to life than just music, and that's what we realized in Europe because we actually looked to move over there.
Mm.
We were planning to travel around for a while, and then if something happened, we'd stay somewhere. But the more we looked at it, we realized that London was really only going to be the only place to do that.
Yeah.
And London's crap for a lot of things, you know. I mean, it's so expensive. It's way more
Really.
expensive than New York. And
Jeez.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
just gray and miserable. And I mean, it's dark by 3:45 in the afternoon in
That's
winter.
like how it is here most of the time though. Until it's summer.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
winter
but
it's like
Colorado is beautiful though, isn't it? Like,
yeah, but it
I got a
snows
friend who lived
like
there in Denver,
probably
and
100 days out of the year.
and she loved all the skiing and the snow and the things, and she just showed me photos. It looks beautiful, whereas London is gray and it's
Yeah, for
pretty
sure.
tough.
It's pretty. Today it was like 70.
Mm,
I'm not again not trying to talk shit on where I live. It's awesome.
yeah, but
Uh
whereas I mean here, like I said,
cold though.
there's not that many players who can play. There's a few
Yeah.
guys, you know, on each instrument. But the thing is, like the lifestyle here is really good. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
clean air and it's safe and people you don't really have to lock your doors half the time because nobody's gonna. I mean, people do steal stuff, but it's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
safe, you
The
know.
the etiquette of the community is more sound maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I think people kind of realize that it's just a small scene, and so everybody knows everybody, and everybody kind of just gets on with it for the most part.
Yeah, that's
You know,
cool. I'm an outsider from in a new place, so I don't know if I can confidently say that about here. But it's
I
I
think if you
it's
stick
probably
it out though,
cool.
it'll work. You know, things change depending on like you just got to give it
Totally.
time, and
Yeah.
that's what we realized. If we
Uh,
moved to London, it would have been 10 years of slogging it out there before we
sure.
too
That's
much would
kind of an
happen.
interesting thing you say. That was also the first thing that came to mind for me was people have told me at least as a native coming to an outsider, like to me, receiving this information, they've been like, "You're getting more gigs and doing more things than anyone I've ever seen." And it's like that's a huge compliment, but internally, I don't really feel like I'm making too much progress. But
We all
uh,
feel like that, though, right?
yeah, yeah, I guess
Everybody feels like, I remember talking to Alan Broadbent about that, who's a kid. I don't know if you know him. He's a piano player
mm,
from. He now lives in New York, but he was from LA. And he wrote all the string arrangements for Paul McCartney's latest record, and like he was getting serious
wow.
gigs. All the Diana Krall stuff he wrote, all her string arrangements,
Do
and
you have any
killer piano player.
experience in writing string arrangements?
Yeah, a little bit, but not on Alan's level. I mean, he's like a
Yeah.
whole, like he's serious dude. But he wasn't happy with the gigs in LA. He
Okay.
was just like, I'm so over it. I want to play more. So he moved to New York. And then, I mean,
Mm,
look at the gigs he was getting in LA, but it was like he wanted to move. So I think we always feel like that. But
yeah,
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 to answer your question about writing strings, yeah, I've done a bit of that stuff, but not a huge amount. I'm doing less and less arranging work these days, mostly because all it ends up doing is it involves me sitting in front of a computer by myself, and that's not why I got into music.
yeah. I
I
feel
want to.
that.
It's why I don't do solo gigs either very often. I mean,
Really.
at the moment, I got no choice because you can't. We got this whole. We're in lockdown at the
Yeah.
moment for 4 weeks.
Same.
Yeah. Oh, ours is pretty. Ours is intense, man. You're not allowed to go out like at all.
Really.
You can. Yeah, you can go to the supermarket and you can go for a walk around your block, but that's it.
That's pretty much
Nobody
where
else
ours
is.
is at too. They've like shut down
Is it?
half of the government, no businesses, no
Are schools
restaurants,
closed?
schools are closed,
Wow.
universities
Okay. So it sounds like you're
closed.
about at the same point as us then. Yeah.
Yeah, until April 17th and maybe until May we'll be locked down.
Right.
I haven't gone anywhere for like 24 days, which is a long time.
I hear
But
you, man.
it's yeah, I don't know. I've been just trying to work on guitar. What have you been shedding these days? What has
Yeah, it's pretty
brought you?
much the same, like just
Yeah,
playing
I like
lots of
the
guitar. Although to be honest, I haven't actually been that motivated to practice as much as usual. And it's
yeah,
weird because I got the time now, but it's like there's no gig to look forward to and no kind of recording to look forward to or any of that kind of stuff. So I'm sort of
yeah.
the motivation is different right now. And
I feel that.
yeah,
At least for
I
me,
miss.
I was in a position where I wasn't teaching because I was playing so many gigs. I didn't need to teach, and that was the first time ever in my life that ever happened. Or before, I was playing like one gig a month or one gig a week, or like I was lucky to play two a week or something. And I was always teaching at some small school or like a university or like some guitar shop or like a music store or something. I was always doing that, making something. And then I was gigging on the side. It was enough to like get by, and I never really like cared. And then once I moved to Colorado, I started getting a bunch of gigs, and I was like, I'm too busy. It's kind of hard to balance playing 5 to 8 gigs a week and teaching more than like 4 or 5 students a week just for like the time. And like, I don't know. I was like, whatever. It doesn't even matter. you know,
Yeah, that's
I'm
cool
just
though,
gonna
man.
gig.
That's the
Uh,
thing that most people want, right? They just want to
for
do
sure.
gigs and they want to, maybe teach a little bit. And I mean, I've been lucky.
Yeah.
Had a bunch of times in my life where it's been like that. And although kind of right now that we're in this situation and all the gigs have gone, I kind
Totally.
of wished I had a bit more teaching. But yeah, that's fine. I
Absolutely.
mean, I'm
Yeah.
doing the
I mean,
occasional Skype lesson, and that's enough.
yeah, all of it's just kind of it dropped out for the whatever for the gigs and stuff. But in general, I was like, I don't even really want to teach, and I put it
Mm,
off. And I was motivated to do other things, I guess. But
yeah.
I was specifically like, I guess what I'm trying to say is I was writing intentionally for like songs that people would like to hear.
Hmm.
Like this
Yep.
would be a cool song. This is something people would dance to. I don't want to play this slow song, or playing something in seven maybe not be like the best call for this like brewery or bar gig that I have or something. And I don't know, like trying to play more like people's music or playing covers or something.
You
And
gotta.
that was really specific on like what I thought people would enjoy. And now it's kind of like, well, I guess I just have to make art for art's sake because like I want to do it and I'm inspired and this is what I want to do. Because there's so many things that are coming out, and then there's no gigs and there's no people to really like appease or make happy or something. So It's kind of however I feel it, I think,
So now you do it for you, right? And
which
essentially
is
those that
weird.
like it will
It's so
find,
weird that
yeah, isn't it? But that's actually
so
really cool.
weird.
Have you found that it's quite liberating to be in this position right now that you're discussing?
For sure. Only
Mm.
because that's been my biggest struggle in general. I don't think that most people are kind of in that boat. Maybe they are. I hope that they are. Where I felt like I was kind of swallowing a lot of musical skill in order to play with people specifically. I kind of found myself where I was in a position, like you were saying, I was playing a lot of solo gigs, but because I couldn't really find people to play with who were like good enough. But once I like kind of scaled back the polyrhythms and the,
Mhm.
I don't know, crazy Stevie Wonder tunes and whatever, and just started playing the blues or something. And it was like a lot easier to find people. The music sounded better, blah, blah, blah. And I was writing tunes that were easier too. That too. I wasn't trying to do some crazy shit. And I don't know. So I kind of like sacrificed that. So that was an interesting thing for me where it was like, now I find myself able to write whatever I want, and I can play a lot of instruments, so I'm not really like hindered by like, oh, I can't play bass or piano or oh, I need somebody to sing over this. Like I can kind of do all that myself. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
in that sense, it's not really like it is liberating because I can do whatever I want, and
Mm.
I think this isn't necessarily a good thing, but nobody plays bass like me, which makes my recordings really interesting because I have like really specific bass lines. But and then most bass players don't take the time to like actually do the homework to like learn the bass lines that kind of drive some of the songs. And so
Yeah, and
that
it's
kind
not
of
just
like
bass players. Trying to find musicians in general to spend the time to learn your original music is
true.
real tough for any like drummers, keyboard players, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so if you can do
yeah.
it yourself, I suppose that's an advantage, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I don't know. When you're trying to play it live and people do the homework and you're just like writing chords on a lead sheet or something, then it doesn't really necessarily do it justice all the time.
that's right.
And not everybody can read, so I don't know. I'm sure you know what I'm saying. It's just kind
Yeah,
of like a
absolutely.
gray area or something
It's
right now that
interesting to
I'm
hear you
feeling like.
say this though, because this is exactly what it's something I think about a lot as well too. So
Yeah.
interesting. Mm.
So I tried to scale it back, just like fucking, just like D to C, like who can hang with two chords? Like here's the song, and then I
But
can
that's cool
do
into itself too, though, isn't it? Like getting inside those sort of things. I really enjoy that. You know,
sure.
uh, like Tom Bukovac, I mentioned earlier. He is. Did we mention that? I'm trying to
Mhm.
think. Was that earlier? Doing
Yeah,
these things on YouTube. He has a lot of stuff he gets into is quite simple, but man, the way he does it, it's like and that's kind of yeah. So that's cool too. Like yeah,
I'm
interesting.
uh I'm kind of
Interesting
like
time.
an inversion nerd. I don't know if you feel like that.
Oh yeah,
Especially when I
for
play
sure.
with more people, it's like you could play G like uh B G A D, play C, and then you could still play G, and then you could play, oh my
Of
bad,
course,
C but
yeah.
with D in the bass. You can play all these silly kind of things that nobody really thinks about until you're actually playing guitar, maybe. But
Yeah, I'm right into that kind of stuff for sure.
yeah,
Chordal voicing, quintal voicing, and stuff. And moving voicings around.
yeah. My most difficult thing with that, I don't know. Do you do any singing at all?
Not really. No, I don't like
Yeah,
my voice. I've never liked my voice. So, it,
that's
um,
fair.
and I've worked with so many like really kick-ass singers that it's just I can't go there for myself. You know what I mean?
That's
I'd rather get someone else in
cool.
to do it.
I'm kind of in that boat where like I can sing and I do it more out of like I think that it will make me more popular, which maybe is a silly answer or like why I sing, but I don't know. In general, that's my biggest struggle is that I think I kind of theory too much bullshit sometimes. Try to play my train licks or something where they shouldn't be.
But
Uh,
if you can do it, why not? I mean, it's another form of
yeah,
expression, isn't it?
it's
Right?
just it's just hard to sing over some of that shit. Uh, are you a slide player at all?
A little bit. I'm not very good at it, and I should actually take some lessons to learn. I remember
I've
talking
been
to Ariel posting about it a while ago, and
yeah,
we were
yeah.
going to do it because I know Ariel through Mark and through people like that. And we've hung out a bit at the NAM show and things like that.
Right
And we've
on.
talked to many times about. I've said to him, man, I should take some lessons with you to learn how to do slide and
Now's the
really get
time.
inside it. Now's the time, exactly.
He
Except now I got no money, right? Because there's no
yeah,
gigs.
I know. Yeah, that's really the biggest thing for me in general, and
But
money.
I love slide. It's really, man, when you hear someone, it's a very voice-like expression, you know.
Yeah,
I got the
yeah.
slide. I
That's
don't have it here
really
at the
good. Yeah.
moment, but I bought it at the NAM show, and it's like a
Mm.
half finger one.
Okay.
I don't know if you know who John Shanks is. He's this
No.
guitar player who plays in. He's a producer, but he
Oh
plays
wow.
in that band Bon Jovi these
Hmm.
days. And he was at the NAM show. He was showing me some pedal that he had, a new pedal, signature pedal or something. But he showed me this little slide that he had that was like a half slide. It kind of fits half on your fingers. I've got it inside the house, unfortunately. Otherwise, I'd show you.
Yeah, dude.
Um, and he said the guy who makes it is just around the corner at the NAM show, and he'll hand fit it for you right now. So I went round there and gave the guy $20, and he fitted it, and
Cool.
he got a little hammer, and he got it to fit exactly on my finger. The
Wow.
crazy thing about that is it keeps your fingertip exposed, and you can bend your finger, so you can play normal-ish,
Oh
but then
wow.
you can play the slide when you want to. And I've been working on that, but I'm not very good at it, so I won't embarrass myself by showing you my playing at it
Yeah,
yet.
yeah. I don't know. It was really just my just talking about singing in general. But yeah, I've been I think I got Joey Landreth to come on the Zoom hang next week.
Oh yeah,
That dude's a
Joey's
monster.
ridiculous, man. Joey and
Yeah.
Ariel, those two guys are probably the best two slide players around. Derek Trucks,
True.
you know,
True.
and then of
Yeah,
course
yeah.
the old school players like Bonnie Raitt and I mean,
Hmm.
and the old blues guys. It's just, I just love it.
I
But
saw
no, but
Bonnie Raitt like for free in the town I live in, like on this lawn in the middle of the town square. I don't know. It was like this really
wow,
random thing. And at the time, I really wasn't that into her or ever heard of anything she'd ever done, and just checked it out, and I was floored. I mean, I don't know.
yeah.
It was a cool like random musical experience.
And
Uh,
those are sometimes the best, aren't they? Like when you go in with no
true.
expectation, right?
What do you have any of those just off the top of your head?
Oh,
Like
heaps.
best random concert you ever stumbled upon?
Probably, Chucho Valdez. I saw
Okay.
Chucho Valdez at the Wellington Jazz Festival, and I knew his music like a smidge, like I
Yeah.
knew he was a Latin piano player, and he had these young cats with him they looked 20 at best, you know.
Yeah.
And they came out, and I saw the drummer and the percussionist look at each other, and they said something, and I have no idea what they said, but I'm pretty sure they said, "Hey, why don't we smash it out of the park tonight?" Something along those
Yeah.
lines, you know.
Yeah.
And these guys came down and just laid it down, man. It was unfreaking believable. And I went
Cool.
outside and I saw a friend who's into Latin, Brazilian music especially, and
Mm.
he was like shaking, like he had had an otherworldly kind of experience. And I saw another
That's
friend who's a great arranger and big band leader, and he said, "Man, I just wasn't ready for that." And I said, "I know. I feel like we're just at the beginning of music compared to the shit they were getting into. It was ridiculously good."
that's
And
really
I've had a few of those, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't had too many. I know what you're talking about though, like where you're watching somebody, or maybe even you're performing, or I don't know. I don't know if it could happen during the lesson, but I feel like the group experience makes it better. But like where you just
Totally.
like transcend and you're kind of like in this collective consciousness or something. It sounds so meta or like ethereal, but
Yeah. I mean,
it's
Sko was like that when I saw him
kind of
play too.
crazy.
It was like,
I would imagine
you
that.
know, I've seen him 3 times now. I saw him in London when I was there as well.
I mean,
Um,
that's the guitar, right?
Over here, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
he's the man.
it's funny because I did a tour with him for New Zealand.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, so I was looking after him on that tour. So I got to see
Okay.
them 3 nights in a row,
Hmm.
same band but different venues. Set was completely different every night, even though they played the same tunes. And
Cool.
one day we had a day off, so he said, "Oh, do you want to get together and we'll go and catch a movie and we'll just hang and have some lunch?" So we did. And then it's like, "Do you want to go back to the hotel and just play guitar for a while?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So we went
Yeah.
back in.
Duh.
and he asked, he said, can I play your guitar? So
Sick.
he played this and I played his guitar, and man, his is beat up to shit. It's like,
Really?
it's in real, like the F hole had been broken off and he taped the piece back in, and he had actually popped the neck out of the joint and it had been glued back in, and it was all
Oh,
rough around the edges. But man,
wow.
you just played it and it just, you could tell he'd played 10,000 hours of just playing on it, you know?
Wow.
And
That's
so there, yeah,
incredible.
when he was in London, I heard that he was in town. So actually he sent me an email and he
Mm,
invited me to the concert, and I got to hang with him a little bit afterwards, which was really cool. But that was with a more jazz straight ahead group. But he didn't bring that guitar. He brought the black one that's the same version, and
sure.
he sounded exactly the same,
Yeah.
exactly the same. He was playing a deluxe, playing clean with
Jeez.
that guitar, and he sounded
Jeez.
exactly the same.
Dude, there's few people I could think of that really do that really well. Again, Mark Lettieri, I would say is one
Yeah,
of those people.
he sounds the same on every guitar, right? It
Yeah,
doesn't, because
the
it's him that's coming through, right?
true. That one video of him playing the Tosin guitars, the Abasi stuff is just like so silly because he's playing
Hmm.
this like gent metal machine and he still sounds like he's playing funk. And then Holdsworth, I mean, there's
Yeah, Wayne
you know,
Krantz.
yeah,
You
Wayne
mentioned Wayne
Grant,
Krantz.
true.
Man, I've seen him play a bunch of different things years over
Yeah,
the years, and he sounds the same. You know,
he
an old
does.
vintage Strat to a Tyler, it doesn't makes no difference.
And even if he's playing with like some random drummer or Ari Honig or somebody like that, like he still sounds like himself, which
Mm.
whew, that's
That's the goal,
incredible.
right? That's totally what I'm after more than
Yeah.
anything. I want to have my own voice with it, and that's partly why I've been playing this guitar more than any of my others. It's just
Mm,
I want to kind of get known for one thing. And I found when I'd swap between these two, this guitar here doesn't do a lot of the music that I want to do that great. This does a lot of that music better. More, because I mean, my thing is more fusion. I'm definitely not a bebopper. Do you know what I
sure.
mean?
Me
Although
neither. Me neither.
I do like that music, and I've studied a lot of it.
Yeah.
But my voice, I think, is more kind of bluesy orientated, funky groove. Like I blend stuff together, and so this what this is. And so when we went to Europe, I just took one guitar. I took
Cool.
this in a gig bag, and I had a year of just playing one guitar, and I think it's the best thing I've done, because I could
Yeah.
have taken another one, but I kind of got to know this instrument and what it does and how it responds and its faults and its flaws. And because I mean, with this setup, I hate this bridge pickup too. I'm going to change that, but
Yeah.
um,
Well, that's easy though. That's easy. You just new
exactly. Not
pickups.
at the moment. You can't get anything.
Even
Everything's closed.
dude, yeah, I had to do like this backdoor drug deal for guitar strings the other day. I mean, it was my homie. I was like, yo, yeah, I know you got those NYXLs. Hook it up, And he's
That's
like,
the thing, eh? Like nobody can get stuff. So it's like next thing you know, people be trading toilet paper, right?
yeah, yeah. And
Toilet paper for a set of strings.
yeah, it was pretty heavy. I mean, that was for me. That was like kind of a huge realization moment where I was like, oh man, I can't even get guitar strings anymore.
I'm the same. I've been building out the
Uh,
studio here, and because we moved back into a house about 2 or 3 weeks ago, just before the lockdown,
wow, no,
and I
lucky.
can't get anything. I can't get any of the stuff I need to finish the space. So I'm kind of I'm halfway through it, and it is what
That's
it is,
kind
you know.
of that's an interesting thing that I really have been noticing that with everyone where you're definitely not the first person, me in general too, where it's like I need so many things right now, and it's kind
Mm,
of just so exposing the number of things that I need that are
mm.
really essential. Like I'm trying to record this whole record with just this guitar. I don't have a bass. I got this baritone, and that's pretty much what I've been using as my bass. And
That's cool though, isn't it? To just have
I
those
don't know if
kind of
you see this,
limits. Oh, you
but
got
I
the
got
slide there.
yeah, and
But
the
to
little
have those limits and go,
pulley.
right, these are the tools I have. How am I going to make these tools work?
Yeah,
Do you know
and
what I mean?
I have an SM57 and an SM58. I got two dynamic microphones, no phantom power. I have like this it's not gonna move. I got a $24 interface, and it's like
That's what I got
yeah,
on here, SM57, and it just, I mean, I've got other microphones, but it just works. So it's just,
true.
you use what you got, though. I mean, it sounds like you've got enough
Yeah,
there to make potentially a good record, right? It just comes down to how
yeah,
good
yeah,
your ideas are and
true.
how well you play them. Because at the end of the
And
day, too,
and a
like,
little bit of mixing, I think goes a long
yeah,
way.
But I mean,
But
people. I
yeah,
think I still believe that people will buy music or consume music, however they consume it, if it was recorded on cassette, if the playing's good enough.
I agree with that.
I mean, I used to check out old Wayne Krantz recordings back, not too long ago, and they were recorded on stereo mix out of the desk at the 55 bar, and he used to sell them on his website. And I would buy
Cool,
them, and the,
cool.
the sound was crappy, but man, the
Yeah,
playing was so great, and I wanted to absorb that, so I paid like $5 or $6 or whatever it was to get them, and
cool.
you know,
Well, I feel like that's kind of where it's coming back to. Like, before all this bullshit COVID shit happened, man, I wasn't selling really too much. I probably had made like $200 for like the whole year or something. But since COVID's happened, I've probably made like $100 off of like digital
hmm.
downloads and stuff, which is so silly. It's like, oh,
Well,
everyone
people have
just
the time to
realizes,
consume now, right?
yeah, yeah, everyone just realizes that, oh, well, maybe this is actually probably a really viable source of income for these people,
Hmm.
uh, as opposed to before, where it's like, this is kind of something I don't know if you'd feel like mentioning or talking about, but I noticed you have like 7,000 followers on YouTube. How much do you get annually for that, like per year?
I mean, YouTube pays nothing. It's a
Really?
waste of time, really, to be honest. Unless you're someone
Okay.
who has like 10, 100,000 followers or subscribers or whatever. Um, I have my channel monetized, but I've yet to draw down the money, and it's just sitting there. But a friend of mine, Matt Mulholland, and if you want to have a good laugh, his shit is hilarious on YouTube.
Mm.
You may have even seen the he did that video When My Heart Will Go On, the Celine Dion thing with the recorder out of tune, and it's a piss take comedy thing.
Maybe if I like saw it in my eyes, but
His whole stuff is humor. It's like he's had like 100 million views or something, like massive, huge
yeah,
amounts of success with it. So he told me for every million views, it works out about $1,000 he gets back for it.
yeah,
And
that's
getting a million views ain't easy.
no, yeah, for sure. That's kind of the interesting thing. I just, from all of this stuff, I've been seeing everyone being like, "Oh, follow my YouTube page," blah blah blah,
Yeah,
and it's like, how much is that really gonna do though? Uh,
nothing. It's really not
Yeah.
even
So, I
anything.
mean, you're probably one of the bigger ones that I've talked to as far as like, 7,000. Like, that's a lot. I have like 11.
Oh man, I thought it
Uh,
was nothing. I felt like mine's like being. I mean, my problem with the YouTube thing is I only do it when I get time to. And I
mm,
mean, the Tom Bukovac stuff is a perfect example of that. That dude had like 500 subscribers a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and now because he's posting every day because of this thing, I think I looked today and he was up to 5,500. And I mean, I'm seeing everyone, you know, commenting on there, like big channels are checking it out, um, so you've got to do regular content. That's the thing, and I don't have the time. Sometimes, man, I'm
yeah,
just so
that's
crazy
wild.
busy with gigs and tours and whatever, and so I just do it when I get time to. So I'm not looking at it as a way of making any money at all. But the
Mm,
crazy thing is you never know who's watching your shit. I
true.
mean, George Pajon, the guitar player from the Black Eyed Peas at the NAMM show, and
Oh,
we've
wow.
got some mutual friends, Ariel Posen and people like that. And he was like, "Oh, you're Nick Granville." He goes, "I've watched your YouTube videos and I've seen your stuff on there. Man, you sound great." And we'd spoken online a couple of times, and he'd said, "Oh, thanks for hipping me to this player and this player." And you just never know who's watching your stuff. I mean, a friend of
True.
mine the other day, she sent me a message, and her husband had been watching my YouTube, sorry, my Facebook Live thing I did. And it was just me in my studio like this, just
Yeah.
playing some bullshit. I didn't think I was playing much. But she was like, "Oh, my husband loves your playing, and he said you were incredible." Well, her husband's the drummer with Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yeah.
So
Oh, jeez.
you just never know who's watching your shit. I had no
Yeah.
idea. I would have played way better had I known he was going to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
So
True.
it was just an off the cuff thing. So that's kind of how I view YouTube. Is it's numbers. It's not really about numbers. It's like are people checking it out? Are people enjoying it, engaging with it? Well,
I
that's
mean, I
all I
think
really want.
that's true about real life too. Recently, I was playing this gig, and I don't know. Do you live your life like this, where you play so many gigs where it's hard to like have a consistent bass player, or
Yep.
consistent drummer. We're still like, I don't know, this particular gig, I was playing with a random drummer, a random guitar player. I always play with the same bass player pretty much, most of the time, 90% of the time. And then, uh, yeah, it was just the four of us. New guitar, new drums, bass, and then me. And I was playing guitar and singing. And it was at this like really punk, like dive shit bar in Denver. And I don't know, it was kind of weird. It was pretty improvised music too. It really wasn't like we were like going out and playing like All the Things You Are or like
Hmm.
Royal or Ain't No Sunshine or something, like, or we weren't playing like anything off the records or anything like that. It was just kind of like, all right, these cats are new. Let's just like have a little fun, see what happens. And there was like a really bad snowstorm on top of that. It was like crazy blizzard, white out. No one was out. There was maybe like 10 or 15 people in the bar or something. And there was like, after the show, this guy comes up to me and was like, yo, I really loved your music. I'd love to book you at a place. And I was like, oh yeah, sure, where? And he goes, Dazzle. And it's like probably the biggest place, like Tigran, Mark Juliana, Schofield's played there, Charlie Hunter. That was the place I said that I like scoped out, just like looking outside the window because I couldn't afford tickets. This guy's like asking me if I want to play there. He's like the booker in the audience.
Fantastic.
And man, there was like nobody fucking there. It was like, kind of one of those gigs
That's
that
the
like
thing, eh?
I
Yeah, you
really didn't
never
take
know.
very seriously, but I guess I was playing my ass off, thank God. But like,
Yeah.
this guy comes up to me and was like, yo, you were like really slaying it. And we'd love to have you at Dazzle. And, hopefully that gig doesn't get canceled. But, dude,
But at
it
least now he knows who you are and he's
was
aware
true.
of you and
True.
you've made an impression on him, and that's the thing, because you never know where that could lead either. Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and that's I've seen that so many times in my career, and this is like, just so that's why every time you play, you just got to bring it. And I remember playing a jazz festival one time, and we lucked out. We got the 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning slot. Would you believe it, at this festival?
right on.
And I mean, we actually got paid really well
Yeah.
for the gig, and I was just like, oh well, fuck it, let's just do it. And so I had a organ trio, and I said to the
Cool.
drummer, who's the best guy around here, he's like the
Mm.
busiest, he's on everyone's gig, this guy. And I said to him, man, I said, let's just smash it. Let's just play it like we're playing a big venue and whatever, and just go for it. So I said, man, let's start the show with a drum solo, like play just drum solo, like right up
uh,
front, and just
I like that.
annihilate these people. And I shit you not, there was probably 5 or 6 people at that gig.
Cool.
One was my wife, one was my daughter,
Hmm.
and maybe about 4 other people. Well, about a year later, I met Ollie Holland, who's the bass teacher at Auckland University up here in New
Okay.
Zealand. And he said, man, I was at your gig. He goes, that was amazing. He goes, that drummer, holy shit. He
Yeah.
was like, really, like, and he
Years
goes,
later.
right, do you want to play on my doctoral recital, and the university will fly you up and put you up in a nice hotel, and we'll feed you, and it'll be a good fee. And it was all, again, based on that one thing. So like,
Wow.
you just never know, dude. So
Yeah. True.
so that's kind of how
I
I view YouTubers. You just never know who's going to watch stuff and where it's going to go, and
Yeah.
you know.
Well, that's interesting because you got a lot of views, more than I have. That's all I'm saying,
Oh,
and
keep
that's just
chipping
kind of
away
cool.
at it, man. That's the
Puts it
thing.
into perspective, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. It's in general just kind of like trying to learn new ways to make money. I'm sure as everyone is right
Yeah.
now. Selling merch has been like probably the biggest one. I've been making like a bunch of t-shirts and stickers and coffee cups and sweaters and long sleeve t-shirts and tank tops and whatever. But
But
uh
music's always been about selling that stuff, isn't it? It's like the
I
actual
never
selling
realized
of
that.
music is not how people. Music was right from day one about selling hardware.
Yeah.
Like, it was about selling record players, not about selling records.
Hmm.
And then it became about tape machines, and then it became about, like, the iPod made a huge amount of money, and the people making the music that goes on the iPod didn't make a huge amount of money. So it's
True.
kind of always been about the hardware and all the things that surround it. So the merch and all that stuff, that's where it's at, dude. I've
Yeah.
never really, I need to get more into that stuff. I'm a bit slack, eh? So,
T Spring, like the season, T Spring, like the season.com
mm.
is what I've been using.
Oh,
And
awesome.
I'll have to send you the link. It's super easy to set up. I log in like straight through Facebook, like no bullshit. Just like, here you go. And as long as you have like your PDF or your logo, or just you can even make text on the website itself and just kind of like put it on a shirt. And I probably made like $100 in a week, which just seems ridiculous considering that I haven't been doing that ever. And
And $100, it could be your groceries covered, right?
yeah,
So it's
seriously.
totally
And
worth it.
it's like, why am I not doing that? Why have I been sitting on my ass or like trying to sell t-shirts in person, which is like 8 times more cumbersome, and then I just load
Hmm.
them around in my car, or to like, just try and like pawn them off on random people or something, and but it's just like, here, I'll just put this link, put it on a card or on a sign or something, and people just go there, and it's actually been way more efficient. And like my personal favorite thing is like every time I've ever done merch myself at my small baby level, I have always like bought the shirts beforehand where it's like I need to buy like 20 shirts or something, and that's like $200 that I don't have, and then I like try and sell them or something for $10 profit or something, and it's just so much more cumbersome when this whole website ships them. They like finance the shirts, you just make the designs, it's like, and
It's just
then
like a partnership, really, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then, literally the
That's
next week
cool.
I have like $100 just like chilling, which is kind of ridiculous. I'm so stoked
That's
by
awesome.
the reaction. I'm just kind of like, uh, you know, touching on the bases. Like, I need to get Patreon. I need to get on YouTube. I need to get merch. I need to be recording music. I need to be doing things like this and putting them on
Hmm.
YouTube and, whatever. But dude, it's always learning. That's been the
Yeah.
biggest pleasure of this whole COVID thing is I'm learning so much about technology right now. It's kind of silly.
And the crazy thing is, it's going to change again anyway. Like when we come out the other side of this, things are going to be different again. And the music industry, and my experience of it, I mean, I've been at this for 25 years now.
Mhm.
It's changed
That's as long as I've
immensely
been
in that
alive.
time.
That's all I could say.
Yeah, man, I feel old now. I'm usually the young one at all the gigs, or it was
Yeah.
always that case, the young fella. But it's I just it's just changed immensely. It
Mm.
used to be the days when we had TV gigs, and now those are all but gone. And then there was the days where there
Yeah.
was a heap of session work. I mean, at one point in my life, I made a living just doing sessions.
Wow.
I was getting 2 sessions a week, and each session paid about $500-600 New Zealand, which is about 350 400 US.
Okay.
Most of them I could do in less than a half an hour. I go in and I just play a part, and most
Yeah.
of the time the hardest part was figuring out what they wanted.
Mm. Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
like one guy, for example, I did the news theme here, and he just wanted he kept saying to me, "Play me some Jeff Beck stuff."
Yeah.
And
That's
really what he wanted
super
was Eric
silly.
Clapton.
Okay.
And as soon as I played something kind of more Clapton like, he was like, "That's it. That's the Jeff Beck stuff I've been talking about." And I'm like, "No, it's not." But
Yeah.
anyway, you give them what you want, and then you get paid, and you go home. And I was getting 2 of those every week for like a couple of years, and it was great. And I had other gigs and stuff as well. But I mean, and then there was a phase where I taught at a university, and so you did that for a while. And then I've always done lots of gigs, and
Mm.
and then there was the times when we had regular gigs that were 2-3 nights a week at the same venues at the same place.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
that now has all changed, where people just get
Dude,
one-offs or once a
those are
month.
the
And
fucking hardest ones to get, in my opinion. Like an old
yeah,
fashioned residency, like Wayne Krantz. Like homies played at the 55 bar every Thursday for God knows how long. And it's like, dude, asking somebody to play once a week is like, asking to sacrifice your left arm or something.
yeah, and it's crazy because it's in their best interest too. Because if they have a whole lot of random bands, they think they're
I
going to get
agree.
more people, but it's actually the opposite, because they never build any kind of audience. Whereas if you have
No.
the same person every week, people know that Wayne Krantz is playing there, and they'll come for it. And those
Yeah.
that like him will be really loyal and will come every week. And then, like, if I'm in New York, I know I can go to the 55 bar and hear Wayne Krantz play. So I'll make a point out of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Totally.
so then they win it as well, because they've got regular clientele, which is the whole point of having regular music. Whereas,
Absolutely. Yeah,
The
dude.
thing here seems to be, I don't know if it's like there, but here it seems to be the whole thing of we're going to do once a month residencies. You can do, the
Yeah.
first Friday of every month, and you never get any
Mhm.
momentum with it. The band
No,
never gets
but that's like the
tight like
best
it
that you can
should.
get.
It is, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, I've recently I kind of like booked out before all this stuff. I was in a great position where I had like January through like July booked basically. I had every Thursday through Sunday or something booked, and I was like,
Great.
sweet, this is gonna be awesome. And then so I started reaching out to other places, even places I was gonna play at or have played at before, like let me play on an off day like a Monday or Wednesday or something, and let me play here every week. I was like specifically, I don't even really care about the money. It's more about the music. Just let me, if you want to pay me $10 or something, I would probably do it. But
Hmm.
like, nobody even took me up on it. And I got one place that was going to do it in May, but we'll see if that still happens in general. But I mean, I probably
Interesting, isn't
sent
it? It's a
like,
different mindset, isn't it, that
dude,
these
yeah.
places
I
have
mean,
now.
I sent like 200 emails or something, and it was like, and it was kind of interesting. The only place that really got back to me about the residency is that they had like a monthly artist residency where I got to rent out a room in the building and use it for whatever, for music or writing or painting or whatever I did. And so I got selected as like the artist of the month or something like that. So, that's super cool that like they're gonna let me use the space, I guess. But in general, it's kind of interesting. Like, that program had already existed, I guess.
Hmm.
So it's like, well, sure, okay, that makes sense that I could have a monthly thing here if you're already doing that. But I don't know. I
I
agree.
reckon part of it seems
That
to
shit's
be
hard.
that people have this idea that music has no value, that it's just worth nothing. And so
Yeah.
therefore
Yeah.
that's become the concept of how people look at it. They go on the internet and YouTube is all free, and then they go on Spotify or whatever and they pay a monthly thing, but they essentially get the music free, or at least it feels like it's free because they can access anything. And so I think
Pretty
it's
much.
become
Pretty
that
much.
thing that's kind of how people see. Whereas, like, you're selling merch, right? So you're selling a T-shirt, which is
Yeah.
something they can physically hold, and I think that's why the outlook is different. So I'm hoping out of this the whole situation that people will start to value music again, because they'll realize that the music was the thing that got them through the lockdown.
Yeah. That's
And
true.
movies, right? And movies. I mean, how many movies have you
Yeah.
watched in the last 24 days?
Quite a few. Quite a
Yeah,
few.
me too. We watched
Uh,
2 or 3 yesterday, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah. It's kind of like, all right, we're gonna go for a walk. We're gonna practice some bullshit. Oh, I have a question request. How
Sure.
do you handle playing technical passages?
How do I handle it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's say
I mean,
like,
the first thing always has to be that you play stuff slow,
okay.
always. Um,
Uh,
if it's a fast particular thing. So I always do stuff slow and make sure I'm acting. After that, um, the next thing I do is I just speed it up. And at some point, if you're gonna run, you've got to sprint. So you just got to push and push and push. And one of my favorite things to do is metronome on and start it slow,
yeah.
and just gradually keep creeping it up and creeping it up and creeping it up and creeping it up until you get to the point where you need to be, and then past that and work your
Hmm.
way back.
Right on. Yeah, I feel that. Like, kind of
Video
flexing
helps too.
something.
I find video helps like big time, to actually see what you're doing and making sure you're
Oh
getting it
yeah.
right.
Okay, videoing yourself. I thought you meant like
Yeah.
watching other people.
No, no, no. Video myself with just with my iPhone. I delete them afterwards, and 'cause
Sure.
I don't want to. I don't like this idea of putting your practice on the internet. For myself anyway, I don't want people to
Yeah,
see me at my worst.
I agree
But
with
I
that.
video it and and then I just analyze it from there and then chuck the video away.
Now is an interesting time because everyone's kind of just putting up their bullshit, but in general, it's like the live stream should be like performances, and then like the videos should be like stuff you post on your wall or your Instagram or whatever should be like really well done. Even you could even
Yeah,
edit them. or like it could be
Anything that's
like
going to stick
HD.
around, yeah, for sure. But I
Sure,
mean,
like
Instagram stories is fine. That's a different thing. But, I see people posting, oh, I did this video today and it's me working on this West Montgomery transcription and I can't quite play it, but here's the video anyway. It's like, what do you mean? If you can't quite play it, why are you posting it? At
yeah,
least mine. So when I'm working on this stuff, I just, the technical stuff, but I've never been a big technique monster anywhere,
yeah,
There's
yeah.
guys who are.
No,
That's never been my goal. My goal is to be as musical as possible. That's what I'm aiming for.
mm, for sure. That seems to be the biggest theme with everyone that I've talked to since COVID. Is
Right.
your Lydian dominant bullshit doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Your 13, 16 is bullshit. Your triad inversions over half full diminished are silly. But I don't know. If you're playing from the heart and you're playing some real shit that actually sounds good and feels good, then like why does it even matter?
And
Uh
that's the key. I mean, Schofield and Matheny are the perfect teachers of that, aren't they? Both of them just, I mean, Matheny is one of the most melodic players I've ever heard, It just melodies just come out of that
yeah.
guy and radiate, And Sco just takes you on a journey,
He's
you know?
he's gnarly. I don't
It's,
know. I don't know how to
it's
describe him
deep, isn't
really.
it? It's deep, and I mean, and all my favorite players are like that, and they sound like themselves. They don't sound like, So technique is there. I mean, it's important, but it's there to support the music, and that's the only reason for it.
Right on. Last question I'll ask you before I get going
Yeah.
is what do you do to warm up?
Um, I got a bit of a routine with it, but it's kind of pretty short. But can you hear this? Okay.
For sure.
So I'll do this. Get rid of that.
Hmm.
Right, and then I do variations on that. Right, so that's 1 3 2 4 1 4 2 3. And then I do. There's another one I do across strings. 1 2 3 4, and then go
Oh, like
backwards.
tritone, tritone.
And always trying to be as clean as possible with that.
Wow.
Another one that I do goes 1 2 3 4, then 2 3 4 1, 3 4 1 2, 4 1 2 3 4 1. So on and so on. And then I'll do. And really, what I'm looking for is getting the two hands to speak together. That's usually stage one, is they get these two in sync. And then I'll do some rhythm guitar stuff to get this right hand going. And that's almost always funk music, because that seems to be the best thing for the right hand.
Yeah.
And I'll do that sort of stuff to get the right hand doing. And then the third thing is I want to get the brain going. So if I have a gig that's a blues gig that night, I'll play some blues. If I got a funk gig, I'll play some funk. If I've got a gig where
Right
I'm going
on.
to do whole lot of sight reading, I'll do some sight. Anything that just gets my brain in that particular
Yeah,
gear.
yeah.
And
I get
usually
it.
by that, I mean, that all up, that takes me about 10 minutes, and then I'm good to play a gig, whatever I need to do.
Yeah, I agree with that too. It's just kind of touching it, feeling it, getting in the zone,
Yeah.
and then yeah, that's
And I
cool.
mean, if I've got an important gig, sometimes I'll spend a bit more time warming up, but 10 minutes is usually enough, and whatever particular thing it might be. And sometimes I'm just lazy and I just forget to do it. Or if I'm running late for the gig, like I get there just
Yeah.
before and I rush to set up, and then I'll just kind of go, oh shit, no time to warm up. Okay. But I mean, it's not that long from time to time that I'm going that, I
Yeah,
need to warm up all that much anyway. Like I'm playing all the time.
sure. And in that scenario in general for me too, I kind of feel like even if I didn't play that day, it only takes me like a song or something to
Yeah, exactly.
get in the
Although,
get
I
in the
mean, half of
zone.
that is attitude though, too, as well. Like, right. If you come onto the
Yeah,
stage, like,
confidence.
swinging your punches right from the beginning, then your fingers will just do what they do.
Yeah,
Like, if it hasn't been that long, if I haven't played for a couple of days, that's different. But that doesn't happen very often these days.
yeah, I
But I
agree.
mean, I'm playing every day. and sometimes all day. So if I don't warm up for the next day, I'm usually good to go anyway, because it wasn't that long ago I last played.
Yeah, I feel that. Right
So
on. Respect. I mean, I'm in the same boat. But
yeah,
that's just been some things I've been asking everyone. Just kind of always curious as to what everyone's doing. But
there's a heap of other exercises I'll do as well, but those are the general ones. I mean, that 1, 2, 3, 4 thing, I've been doing that for a long time.
for
Yeah, of
sure. Yeah. Well, dude, thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a great day.
course. Yeah, you
And
too, man. Hey, nice to chat.
likewise, dude, it's nice to just see each other face to face, I guess. But
Yeah.
thank you, brother.
Hopefully one day we can do a gig together. That'd be fun.
Dude, for sure. I'll keep in touch. Big love. Peace
Please
out,
do.
homie.